Hey everybody, thanks for tuning in to Press Pause today. We know that picking the right school for you can be very difficult. Picking the right wizarding school for you can be even more challenging. And we're here today on the channel to educate you guys on another school on this series of schools that we are doing so that you can figure out if you want to send your students or yourself to the wizarding school of your choice around the world. And today we're breaking down Mahoutokoro, the school in Japan. So buckle up and let's dive into the video. Hey guys, so if you haven't seen our other videos, we have broken down Hogwarts, we've broken down Durmstrang Academy, and we have broken down Ilvermorny here in the US. So we're gonna be breaking down some other schools as time goes on in this series so that you can make the most educated decision on where you want to go or where your child wants to go in their magical journey of the wizarding arts. So Mahoutokoro, what do we know? We know not all that much on the history of Mahoutokoro. We do know in the initial finding of it, we don't know who the founder was. We don't know when the school was founded, but we do know quite a bit about the school's history. It is located on a volcanic island, Iwo Jima, known to Muggles to be an uninhabited island or an uninhabited space, but that is, as we know in the wizarding world, not true. Mahoutokoro School is founded here. This school is built of a brilliant element of pure white. That is a jade. The jade itself is called a mutton fat jade, okay? And that is the white structure that builds out this school, okay? Again, it is on an island, so not as much space and room to work with as an Ilvermorny, Durmstrang, or a Hogwarts as far as the land that they have available. But there's something very interesting here when it comes to sports, and we're gonna talk about Quidditch, okay? Mahoutokoro is a very, very famous school for Quidditch, and something very interesting about the school is they're renowned in the sport. They're actually one of the best, if not the best school when it comes to Quidditch. Now, why is this? Interestingly enough, Mahoutokoro's school and its students were taught the game of Quidditch by Hogwarts students many, many years ago. Students from Hogwarts were traveling across the country. They ended up, coming up on this school, and they taught the game of Quidditch to Mahoutokoro. And now the student has surpassed the master in many ways because in Japan, Japanese school of Mahoutokoro is renowned for its prowess when it comes to Quidditch. Many times having Japan win the World Cup and things like that when it comes to Quidditch. And oftentimes, the reason that these students are saying that they are so good and their prowess when it comes to the sport is because this school didn't just practice on a standard Quidditch field. Oftentimes, they were practicing out in the open seas with very rough weather. And while these students are practicing and having to dodge, bludgers coming at them, they're also having to dodge Muggle planes coming at them at very high speeds. So very interestingly enough, they had very, very rough conditions when it came to practicing and learning the game of Quidditch, and this helped to attribute to their prowess when it comes to being on the field. Now, talking about the years of the school. Okay, the years of the school, it's very interesting in what the school does from an age standpoint, because the school itself has a very different mindset, very different process when it comes to going to the school. This is something that sets them apart from all the other wizarding schools because every other wizarding school allows students at the age of 11 to start attending the school. However, Mahoutokoro is different because at the age of 7, yes, 7 years old, your student can start attending Mahoutokoro Academy. Now, that does not mean they can start boarding there. Boarding does not start until the age of 11. The age from 7 to 11, they actually only do wandless magic. They are not permitted to have a wand, and they are flown on giant petrels. Okay, if you don't know, petrels is a type of bird. They are flown there on giant petrels every day, just like a school bus, and they do daily school and fly back home on these giant petrels. So from 7 to 11, it's daily school. At the age of 11, they get their wand and they're able to start boarding at the school. Now, this is very interesting because we do see in this school a good foundation of natural magic, okay? They very much focus on the natural arts when it comes to magic. Now, the natural arts, the classic historical arts of magic, this is something that Tom Riddle probably would have benefited from because he doesn't understand the older magic.
Old magic.
He doesn't understand the power of love-based magic and things like that. This is something that Mahoutokoro probably specialized in, and having that 7 to 11 years old where you're learning your basic Wandless magic, you're learning to develop your natural abilities within magic and understanding how to do that type of magic without a wand. In our opinion, that sets you up at a very good base to be able to elevate yourself when you become 11 years old and you do get a wand. Now, we will say that they are very esteemed when it comes to academics, but in our opinion, because of what we've seen here when it comes to these other schools, you have something with Mahoutokoro where, yes, they have a great foundation, they have a great base that they're teaching these students, especially at a younger level, and wandless magic. But in our opinion, that is because, just like a lot of other Japanese schools, Japanese culture, they're very strict when it comes to things, very much the textbook, okay? So there's not much out of the box thinking at this school. So because of that, you have schools like Hogwarts where you have the Weasley brothers who are creating all these different kinds of magic and all these different products and their own business. I don't see that happening for a student at Mahoutokoro because they are very much textbook. You go by the textbook and that's how you go. That is the way they do things. Now, it does create a very good system for education, but at the same time, it does limit the ability of their students. So in our opinion, there's benefits for Mahoutokoro because it does give you a great natural base of magic within yourself that you are learning and developing from the age of 7 to 11. However, after that, that's up to you. Maybe you want to transfer your student out. Personally, we are thinking of doing this with our twins. We would probably have them go to Mahoutokoro from the age of 7 to 11 on those giant petrels every day, and then they will transfer out to a different school, maybe a Hogwarts or something like that of their choice, where they're able to develop a little bit more beyond just the textbook that they would learn at Mahoutokoro. Okay guys, just a little bit more here. It's gonna be a shorter video. We don't know as much about this school as we do Durmstrang or a Hogwarts, but we do know the houses. The houses, there is a Syrian house. The Syrian house is a, and I'm gonna mispronounce a lot of these things, but a Sika deer, S-I-K-A deer. So this is a type of deer that is the animal for the house. These students are very intuitive and very creative, okay? So very much we would think of a Luna Lovegood. She's someone who very creative in the way she dresses. She has a very good intuition of magic, and I think that this would be a house that she would be placed in. The next school is Yasami. And again, if we mispronounce, sorry, but a swallow is the animal for this house, at least what we found from the records that we have been able to see. Now, this is for patient and protective students, okay? I would think very much a Neville Longbottom, someone who's very patient. They sit back, they wait, they learn over time. They become a very good wizard in their own right, and they're very protective of other people, okay? He was very protective of his other students, trying to keep them out of danger. So that's something we would think for a Neville Longbottom. Then the next school is a Tapu, which is an eel, okay? The eels of the school, the Tapu, are quick-witted and appreciative. Okay, so very quick-witted, they think very fast, very good on the fly, and they're very appreciative for things. Ron Weasley comes to mind when we think of this because, Ron was very appreciative for everything he got, especially coming from the, somewhat impoverished family that he did. He was appreciative for everything that he was given, and he was also very quick-witted because he was very good at natural magic. He was very good at understanding magic in the magical world, and he could think of a lot of things very quickly, especially with wizard's chess and things like that. So we would put Ron in this house. The last house we're gonna talk about is House Shunrai, and this is a cat. Cat is the one who makes up this house. These are very confident and unpredictable students, okay? Confident and unpredictable students, maybe, we might see a Draco Malfoy in this because he is very confident in himself, not necessarily unpredictable, but we do see him very confident. So, maybe Oliver Wood, who's very confident in himself when it comes to Quidditch, maybe would fall into this category. So something there, but very interesting to see the different houses and the different perspective of the attributes that these students have when they get sorted into their houses. And then when it comes to the uniforms, guys, the uniforms for the school, they're very similar to Hogwarts from a robe standpoint. However, they do have a belt style just that you would see in some traditional Japanese clothing, there is a fabric belt that goes around the middle waistline. There is a cord that goes around that as well, different color. Now, the interesting thing is that every student here starts out with a pinkish color to their robes. This is something that is within the robe color design, that there will be pink. And this is something they keep with them through the life, through their life, is these robes, and it will change to it will change with the attributes of the student. So when it comes to a student who gets all of their high marks and is, mastered their education at Mahoutokoro, they have golden robes. So it changes from pink to gold. Now, interestingly, when it comes to students who are doing dark magic, this is something that is not allowed at Mahoutokoro school. And once a student starts to go down that path of the dark arts and they have done some dark magic, their robes will turn white. So once your robes turn white, there will be expulsion from the school. There will also be a trial held to see what you have done in the dark arts and what needs to happen to you from a punishment standpoint. So very interesting here. Maybe this would have been beneficial at a school like Hogwarts, where we could see how bad Tom Riddle really was before he ascended to Voldemort. But this is something very interesting and unique to Mahoutokoro school, is that they can weed out these students. They know the ones who are elevating very quickly in their academics and performing very well just based on their robes, and then the ones who are going into the dark magic and not doing the things they're supposed to be doing, they are the ones who would have very white robes. So interesting school here. We thought there's a lot of great, unique things when it comes to this school. As far as the magical creatures, the giant petrels is the thing that's kind of unique for this school. Each school kind of has something there a little bit. Ilvermorny had the puckwudgies. This school has the giant petrels. And so I think that's something that's a little unique here, but not too much from a magical creature standpoint. They also didn't have something that was unique from the house sorting situation. From what we could see, there's not all the details of how the students are sorted, but it is very interesting that they do get these robes, and it stays with them through their life and kind of shows who they are, almost like a mood ring when you think about that. So interesting school. We think there's a lot of good benefits here, but our opinion and what my wife and I have talked about with the twins, we would probably look at having them go to Mahoutokoro school early on from 7 to 11 to cultivate that natural magic, that natural base magic that they have internally with Wandless magic. And then at the age of 11, transferring out to another school, because this is definitely possible within the wizarding universe. You can transfer schools. So thank you guys so much for tuning in to Press Pause. If you liked this video, please subscribe to the channel or hit that like button. We would appreciate that. It does help the channel tremendously. For you, it's not very much, but for us, it does mean a lot. If you want to go see the Wizarding World and Harry Potter, we're official travel agents that specialize in Disney, Universal, Royal Caribbean, you name it. We can pretty much take care of it for you. So reach out to us. We'd love to help you book your next set of magical memories and get you down to the Wizarding World. Check out our other schools that we've done: Hogwarts, Durmstrang, Ilvermorny, and we'll have many more schools to come in this series of school breakdowns of the Wizarding World. Thank you guys so much, and good luck choosing your wizarding school. A special type of jade stone that is built from this. Leave this. So anyway.